Hi, I'm Lauren. I am the Centre Manager for the Wavell branch at Building Futures Montessori. I started when I was an assistant in 2018. I had my Cert 3 when I started here and then commenced my Diploma of Montessori and Early Childhood. Not long after that, I became the lead educator of the toddlers room. And then 3 to 4 years later, the assistant director position and ed leader position became available. So I applied for that and was successful. And not long after that, the director position became available, which I applied for and was successful.
Hello, I'm Candice. I am currently the area manager at BFM. My journey at BFM started when I was 17. When I started as a trainee, I completed my Cert 3 and began studying my diploma, at which point I took on the room leader position. And probably 12 months later, I became the director of the Wavell Heights service, um, and directed for about 15 years. And then now I'm the area manager.
Hello, I'm Takia. I have worked for BFM Wavell for 3 years now. I started off as Lauren's assistant in the toddler room, and then I am now working as the assistant director and educational leader underneath Lauren as well.
So, would you each please outline your qualifications journey? So, you began here already having a Certificate 3, Lauren. So, what courses have you done since?
So I did my dual diploma through BFE, the Diploma of Early Childhood and Montessori. And once those were completed, I then did an orientation course for 0 to 3 with AMI for Montessori. And then I was obsessed with it. So then I did the diploma of 0 to 3 Montessori through AMI.
As I said, I started as a trainee, so I completed my Cert 3 in Children's Services, and then I did an apprenticeship to complete my Diploma of Children's Services, and also my Montessori Diploma through BFE, and then I went on to study my Bachelor of Early Childhood, and after that I did the AMI 0 to 3 diploma also.
I started off as a trainee and did my Cert 3 in early childhood through BFE and then my diploma, and I'm currently still studying my Montessori diploma through BFE as well.
So, what challenges did you experience as you worked through your qualifications, and what kind of strategies helped you to achieve completion of those qualifications?
I feel like the challenges I faced was my time management. But I think the support from the trainers through BFE was pretty great, which helped me through. Um, Juggling the double diploma is difficult as it is. Yeah, I feel like with the support of the trainers, it was really great. And then through AMI, having people go through that course with me, we bounced off each other, and that was really supportive, got me through. Also enjoying it too, which was helpful.
For me, like Lauren, probably the challenge is setting aside the time and remaining accountable. And I just found that creating myself a specific day and time that I was going to do my study, and committing to that and eliminating distractions, TVs, phones, etc., really helped me just sit down, focus, and get the work done that needed to be done. And certainly colleagues and support from trainers and leaders in my life also.
Yeah, everything that you guys have said, I think the only thing I would add is just the amount of support that is available through BFM and BFE, not just from the trainers, but my mentors and my leaders were really supportive of me as well, and still are because I am still studying my Montessori.
That's a great point, Takia. Mentors and leaders in your lives. So, if you think about who's been part of that journey, what qualities were apparent in people that you looked up to in your journey, and what strategies did mentors and coaches and other leaders in the community have that built into your career development?
I think throughout my time, I've had a few mentors, Candice being one of them. I think I was being checked on quite a lot, which is really helpful. And I was able to come in on my days off and sit with people who could help me. I sat at the college one day and smashed out as much as I could. Yeah, I think the biggest help would have been the fact that people were checking in on me and offered that support when I needed it.
I've always found probably with my mentors that their passion is what kept me going some of the time as well. And just also other people's belief in me, as well as that builds your own self belief, and then that helps you sort of move forward there. Yeah.
Again, I don't have much to add. They've touched all the points. I think all of my mentors throughout my journey have been really inspiring, and that's what's motivated me the most.
All three of you have moved from working in a classroom alongside colleagues in team as you provide education and care for young children. How was it to step out of that environment and to move into a position where you're now an authority figure and a leader? And so you've stepped, I guess, out of that peer circle into a position that people are reporting to. What was that like? What were the challenges, and what has helped in you sort of breaching that gap and finding comfort in your new position? We might start at the other end, Takia. So,
honestly, it was scary, to say the least. I was really intimidated, but again, upper management team have been really supportive. Candice and Lauren have been by my side the whole time, and it's really helped me and made my transition quite smooth. In saying that, it's still very scary at times now, still. But yeah, I have a very strong people to guide me through, and it keeps me going.
Yeah, I think I agree with T. It definitely helps to have colleagues around you that are at a similar level or a higher level to you. You need to find a new team when you move up into a management position. You do have to have some level of disconnect from the team in terms of not being a colleague anymore, but actually becoming a manager. However, it's the strong relationships I feel that are built when you are their colleague that can really help you to remain connected with them when you are in that management role. And generally, I think, particularly with these guys, when they were leaders in the room, their team members had a lot of respect for them. And so that would have filtered through when they moved into that management role. So there was already that respect built there for them, and the relationship was already there. And I guess just keeping that connection open, like Lauren was saying earlier, about having people check in on you. You can keep those relationships and respect alive by continuing that bond that you had before. But it's just all about respect. You can be an excellent leader and still have relationships with your team as long as the respect is there. So that's building respect is probably the main point from me.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. I think it is very difficult having to form different relationships with people. It looks so different stepping up and then having to have those confronting conversations with people who used to be your colleagues was probably the biggest challenge for me. But as Candice said, we had those relationships before stepping up, which definitely eased. And we've got a really great team, and it has helped immensely stepping up. And I think, yes, as Candice said, that respect being there was a huge, huge factor. Yeah.
It's an opportunity. Montessori. Now, you use the word respect quite a lot then, and we know that respect is foundational to Montessori. Are there any other aspects of the Montessori philosophy that you think have guided you in developing your leadership strategy? Or have there been particular training that you've undertaken that have supported your leadership development? Who wants to go first?
I think in terms of the Montessori principles and practices, and using them through your management journey, respect, obviously, as discussed before, but grace and courtesy is really important, to understand that everybody's on their own journey, just as we trust the children on their own journey. Us as adults, we are also on our own learning journeys, and so it's really important to have that, leave that space for your team to be able to continue to grow, and for you yourself to be able to step back and allow them or give them the tools to be able to be on that journey. So a lot of likeness to how we would guide the children in the classroom, similar to guiding educators on their journeys.
Yeah, I think in a classroom, we recognize that each child is an individual and learns at their own pace. And that is really reflected throughout the college and through BFM when you are becoming or stepping up into that leadership role. Like for Candace, the way that she would guide Lauren is different to how she would guide me throughout different aspects of the day being a manager. So I think that really reflects through Montessori as well.
I think just to add to that and extend on that is that when situations come up, you really have to step out of how you think you would have responded and recognize that everyone is their own person and you have to go about it in different ways for every single person. So, yeah.
A question for you, Candace. So you were the centre manager for the Wavell Heights service. Both of these ladies were hired during your time as centre manager and began under your leadership. When you were looking for how we would progress the service as you were moving up in the service, what about these two people really made you feel confident to look at developing them further into service leaders?
Good question. I think the journey in me moving up in the company and bringing these guys in was not 100% smooth and probably didn't track the way that we would have really liked to have planned it out. However, I always had full trust in both of these ladies. Lauren obviously stepped in to the educational leader and assistant director role whilst I was still centre manager. And I think probably just tying back to what we've already talked about before is the respect that I saw of Lauren's team to her when she was in the classroom speaks a lot about the way that she led her team, and others in the service who weren't necessarily in her direct classroom would look to Lauren for guidance and support. And again, that just shows a lot about the relationships that she had already built, the trust and respect that the rest of the team had for her prior to stepping into the role. And it was so it really just felt natural to me. And I think just being able to self-reflect is a huge thing that I would look for in a leader. Being able to be humble and reflecting when you may not be at your best as a leader or as an educator, and being able to reflect, call yourself out, and improve. And that's something I've seen in both Lauren and Takia. And for T, once I'd stepped out and Lauren had moved up into the next centre manager role, T's passion was a huge thing for me. Being educational leader in a service means you've got to be committed and passionate, and definitely two qualities that I saw in T prior to her moving into that role and I've continued to see. And again, just even in the short time that Takia was room leader in her room, that respect was very evident from her team to her, and just the smooth running and the smooth processes that were in place. So there's that structural component as well as the human component.
Let's fast forward 6 months, 6 years, who knows? It's time for you to step up into an exciting new role. What are you looking for in your next generation of leaders in your service? And how would you do things differently, or what components of preparation would you put in place for those people? You might want to take a moment to reflect, but you may have an answer straight off.
I think what I would be looking for is similar to what Candace said, is someone who can self-reflect. That's a huge thing. Being self-aware as well, knowing your own triggers, knowing your own strengths and weaknesses. Also someone who can see things from both sides and be able to take a step back and see what both sides look like. And I think for processes, in the ideal world, having lots of transition time and kind of setting those people up early on for success in the future, and, providing extra responsibilities and things like that.
Just to add on to that, I think, again, people who are passionate and feel inspired and want to carry on what we are all working really hard towards. And yeah.
Following on from Lauren, I would say with the processes in terms of handing over and that lead in time is, again, relating back to Montessori, where it's showing the child, working with the child, and then allowing the child to explore on their own. I think it's a very similar process there, where there's that solid foundation of being able to work alongside each other in that position for a period of time, and then still being there as a support, and then allowing them to spread their wings and take over.